welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I am Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron is out of the country. Is he out of the country?
No, he's in the old United States of
He's
here,
back.
there, America.
He was just in Asia, though, right?
That was, I think that was the time before last.
No, well, where was he? Man, I can't keep track. That's why I had to ask him, where is he at? Because he flies in and he's back out.
Billings, Montana at the moment.
So, yeah. Almost America. There we go. So he's out. Yeah, he managed to find a soccer bar to watch the Champions League game at today. So Ron is. Oh no, I know what it is. He's flying back home, but where he's staying at, he's got to stay up and work with the groups in like Singapore or something right now. Ron is so cool. You just talk about listen to that guy. It's like he's James Bond. Just.
Right.
Ron's like, I can't do the pod today, gentlemen. I'm sorry. I've got to get to the Singapore
I'm
contingent.
in the Montana mountains. And, my Chelsea finally win, and I jet off to the mountains.
Yeah, they finally win, and he can't talk. The last time we did a duo pod with Ron, we went on like a 20-minute rant about how bad Chelsea was.
Yeah, right.
So I can't believe that this is the pod that he didn't make.
Although, do you know what we get to celebrate today? With Chelsea's win on the weekend, they are officially staying in the Premier League.
Yes. They are no longer in a relegation battle.
Those points secured their place in the Premier League for another season.
Those magical,
wow.
Those magical 40 points. They are safe. Oh my God. Oh, Chelsea. You're still a mess.
It's the gift that keeps on giving the whole season long.
I still have no idea who's going to want to manage them, but Ron, we will carry on in your stead. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit. Chelsea might come up, or just the fact since we're going to talk about relegation battles, so that'll come back up. But on tonight's episode, or today, this morning, whenever you're listening to it, we're going to go into the title race for the Premier League, and then I should say also the Champions League race in the Premier League, and then also the fight to remain in the top flight was becoming one hell of a relegation battle in the Premier League. And we have champions. Then we also have we have our Europa League spot, and then what is that new league called? The Europa.
Which I don't know if that's because
they doing it again.
Like most league tables don't show it anymore, but no. It might be the seventh place. It might not.
Are they just? Is that their silent protest to UEFA, where they're like, we don't care about this one, dude?
Yeah, and to be honest, who really cares?
Nobody does. Nobody does.
Right.
Nobody does. So I'm not going to sweat it. But I hadn't gotten to what you wrote about Ron. Unfortunately, there is no colon of immense constitution on this pod, as Ron is traveling back to this great country of ours. However, we will take a halftime break. Blake and I discuss whatever the hell comes up to mind. Then in the second half, we will once again have another edition of the La Liga's Roundup, which I did with my own mouth because I didn't get those new nifty sounds from Ron for the pod. So we're going to do this really analog style.
Well, yeah, if you don't know at home, we both Blake and Ron are the main recorders of the pod. I do the content for the pod. Blake and Ron have the equipment to record the pod on and then put it out to your ears on your phone or your tablet or whatever you can listen to us on. So when we get new sound effects, or we come up with some new sound effect or some new thing that we just want to add, it's not like we just drop it and it adds to both boards. We have to add it to the board in Orlando, and then we have to send it, and Blake has to add it to the board in Gatlinburg. So it's not like it's just one board and you guys have a producer somewhere that does all of this. No, this is we put this together on our own.
And clearly Ron's not here, and we've all fallen apart. As we'll do our best. We just want to keep it consistent because we're trying this new thing,
right?
And we want to keep it going. So if I was smart, I would have asked Ron to send me those sound effects, and they'd be in my board. But they're not. But you know what? You got us, so you got to deal with it.
Fair enough.
So speaking of deal with it, if you don't have one, grab a beer now, unless you're driving and listen to us on the road. It's time to get into our beer. What beer you got today, Ferris?
If you had too many beers listening to us before, don't drive.
No, don't drive. Just take a nap.
Exactly. Or an Uber.
Take a sad nap.
And go on to your next adventure.
If you just watched your team lose, take a sad nap.
Exactly. But Ron is with us in spirit. You want to know why?
Is it a sour?
No, it's not. I think I ran out of the sours from what he gave me. But this was another one from Canada that he had given. It's a double up coffee milk stout.
Oh.
Yeah, from Canada. On the can it goes, "Oh Canada." Quintessential flavor of classic Canadian brew, creamy body, amazing aroma with dark roasted coffee notes and just the right amount of sweetness. You can head over to, I haven't said it, but Tomorrow Brew Co. So you can head over to tomorrowbrewco.com. And a very kind of slick, simple site which just has beers about, contact, and where to buy. When you go over to their about section, it says, "Oh, hi there. Thanks for checking us out. We hope you enjoy our beer. And if you're just learning about us for the first time, welcome." And they founded the brewery back in 2014. My mother and son team. You don't hear that a whole lot.
That's cool.
Like, that's pretty cool. Pat and Ian McDonald, who had a vision to celebrate what's great about Canada through craft beer. As a family-run business, we are proud to be Canadian and call Canada home. While Canada isn't perfect, there are few, if any, places we would rather live, and we work each day to make tomorrow even better. We have so many unique flavors and stories unique to Canada and wanted to bring them to life through distinctive and delicious craft brews. We work with the local Canadian companies whenever possible, like Muskogee Springs. We use their ginger ale, which goes all the way back to 1873, and our gold medal winning shandy, which is delicious. We hope our beers help you to celebrate both little moments and big moments. Looking for one of our beers? Give us a ring, and we're happy to help. Cheers, Tomorrow Brew Company team.
And that was a coffee milk stout? Coffee milk stout?
Yeah. So this beer in particular, and of course, I just had it up and then it went away. But the description on their site says, "Wait, a double up beer? It's rich, creamy coffee stout latte." Yep, you got it. Growing up in Canada, the double, or as we say, double up, was a staple. 2 creams and 2 sugars. We took the silky smooth and sweet coffee that we remembered growing up and said, "Let's make a beer."
And for those of you who don't know what a double is, I mean, I know you described it, but literally, really, you're talking about going to Tim Hortons and ordering a double. And if you do that, I remember the first time I did that after I was hanging out with a bunch of Canadians in a band I was with, and they were like, "Dude, you've become Canadian." They thought it was the funniest thing that I ordered a double.
See, I never heard it, and what Ron and his wife bring back to me, because they go up to Canada quite often to see her family. They always bring me back not coffee from Tim Hortons, they bring me back tea. They bring me back Earl Grey Tim Hortons tea.
Oh,
which I love and is fantastic. But this beer, we're recording this at 9:35 p.m. at night.
So get some coffee.
Perfect at 6.5% alcohol by volume.
I am returning to the Tennessee Nashville well. I liked that double IPA so much last week that I went and got another beer from Bearded Iris out of Nashville, and I got their Tunnel Vision. Did you try the Tunnel Vision?
The can looks eerily familiar. Like, I believe I did.
I remember for the wedding, I brought a bunch of Tennessee beers up, and I actually didn't get to try any because they went pretty quick.
I think I did then. And that was almost a year ago now, right?
So, yep. So I'm going to try this bad boy. The last week, the double IPA was amazing. This one's called the Double Vision, and it is, it's an IPA hopped with Citra, Mosaic, and El Dorado. Focus.
I love all of those.
It says this IPA showcases a blurred edge mouthfeel, multi-layered juiciness of Mosaic and Citra, and a chewy lemon starburst zing courtesy of El Dorado oil. Its tasting notes are zippy lemon and melon. 6.8% ABV.
Sounds delightful.
Let's do this, shall we?
I think we shall.
Oh, man. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised it smells good. Their last one I had, their double IPA, was delicious smelling. Oh, man. Dark. I actually think, even though this isn't a double, this smells hoppier in that sort of super, super citrus way.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Where I'm doing this, I have my own, mic, and then the glass is on the other side of my keyboard here, and I can smell the coffee from my glass that's on my desk over here. Oh, man.
All right. This smells good. Cheers.
It smells delightful, like a brew house.
Cheers, my friend.
Coffee brew house. Cilantro, my friend.
Dude. That's the second IPA. Then they said they do IPAs well. They ain't kidding. That is the smoothest. This is gonna sound weird to say. Smooth like milk. Now I know that. Don't think of a milk flavor, but the way the liquid of a milk, right? It's just like smooth. This is as smooth as a beer as I've had that wasn't on nitro. Like, it is smooth.
That's awesome. You know, when you mix those hops do go well together. And if you do it just right, you will get that smooth, citrusy, a little bit of pine in there as well. So
because it's super hoppy smelling, it is not super hoppy. That's bitter, awesome. Like at all. It's just enough. Ooh.
Mine actually does taste like milk.
Oh yeah, I guess
it's supposed to. Coffee milk stout. But when they say creamy coffee and espresso flavor, bingo bango, double up, absolutely, it delightful and smooth, right? When you think of a coffee milk stout, you might think it's going to be like heavy or double up in the name. You think it's going to be a higher ABV. 6.5%. Smells like you're sitting at a Tim Hortons and just absolutely phenomenal.
That sounds like a perfect Premier League morning coffee beer.
Mm-hmm. This beer would be perfect for that.
I do miss our getting pies from the Proper Pie Company, doing pies for breakfast to watch games.
I do as well. If Ron's in town and I should be off, and it's the last day of the Premier League, maybe I'll take a trip down the way there to then me and grab some pies, and we'll do that at his casa if he's in town, but he might be traveling.
Worth the trip, yes. Go in there and tell those Spurs fans that run the place hello.
But that's if Ron's in town. He might be skiing the Alps with
with Moneypenny and James
yeah,
Bond.
exactly.
Yeah. It's his life sounds so cool. I mean, like we talk about, it's like, oh yeah, well, I don't know. He's in Beijing, or is it Singapore? I can't remember. Oh, he's in Montana. See, and it doesn't matter. It could be anywhere. Like exactly. I thought it was Japan, but maybe he just came back from there. I can't keep it straight.
Yeah.
I was going to say, speaking of can't keep it straight, but actually no. This title race has been pretty straight. It's these two teams the whole way. Mm-hmm. The title race with Arsenal and Man City as we move on to the football. How's that for a whistle?
That's a good start.
Okay.
Right? I think it starts just a dude. Right?
Oh, it's just yeah.
Yep, there you go.
That's the beginning of the match. There you go. Well, with less than 5 matches remaining in the Premier League, now the race for the Premier League title is still coming down the home stretch with both Arsenal and Man City going stride for one another. On Saturday, Man City opened their newfound lead at the top to 4 points as they fairly comfortably handled Big Sam Allardyce's leads 2-1 of the day. First half brace for captain for Mr. Gundogan. Pretty much
Ilkay
Gundogan. I know you did put the whole name in there. It's a very Star Wars name. Pretty much put the game to rest in the first half, but when he missed a penalty in the 84th minute, it not only made Pep mad for other reasons, but allowed Leeds to get back in it, and they did a minute later in the 85th to cut the lead in half. City saw it out, though, and moved them to 82 points with 4 games left to play. A day later on Sunday, Arsenal cut City's lead to only a point again as they went up to Newcastle and traveled back to London with a 2-0 victory over the third-place team. Holding off Newcastle's threatening attacks in the opening minutes of each half, the Gunners were able to hold their ground and got goals in either half. A lovely strike from Captain Martin Odegaard put them up in the 14th minute, while a Fabian Schär owned goal in the 71st minute via Martinelli cross were enough to see Arsenal gain a huge 3 points in the race for the title. It's funny, right? Like the Premier League scriptwriters, just when you kind of think, I guess Arsenal just fizzles out, they beat a big team.
Yeah, and
beat them well.
This was a great match just to watch in general.
Yeah, and one in Newcastle, which is a hard thing to do right now. So that this still stays interesting. I mean, look, at least we've got a title race that, with any luck, will be exciting and go straight to the final day.
Yes, it's possible. City can win it before if they continue to win out. They can also lose one game in their last 4 and still win the title if they win the other 3. City probably have the harder run coming down the stretch, where Arsenal have, in theory, the easier run. Yes, they have Brighton coming up, but they're playing at the Emirates. And we'll get to Brighton here in a bit. And then they have Nottingham Forest, who could be fighting for the Premier League lives, and they have to go to the City ground. So not necessarily easy for them, right?
Yes, that's true.
And then Wolves on the last day, which will have nothing to play necessarily for. Where Man City, on the other hand, have Everton on Sunday, fighting for their lives, and they have to play at Goodison Park. And then they have 2 home games. They have the second leg with Real Madrid, which they're really going to have to play for, because in the Champions League today, they drew 1-1.
Yep.
Then they have Chelsea at the Etihad. That, in theory, should be a win. Then they have Brighton away, which at that point might not have anything to play for, but still a dangerous team. Then they have Brentford away on the last day. Again, not an easy team to play for, not necessarily anything to play with that, at that time, but you could see them making it a little bit more difficult for City. And the interesting thing here is the reason we said that Pep was a little upset. First off, Blake, I believe you said it on the last pod, Leeds are looking at Big Sam to come in for 4 games.
And if they can keep, he gets like something like 600,000, but if he manages to keep them up, he gets like a 4 million bonus or something.
Which I think is actually fair and okay, right?
But yeah, that was the last pod, right? When I was like, "Ooh, I think it's happening," and there you go.
And Leeds weren't terrible. They were more structured against a Man City team kind of firing all cylinders. Why Pep got so mad at that pen? It's not because it was a missed pen. It's because their penalty taker is Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland gave the ball up to Gundogan for his hat trick because he had scored the first 2 goals.
Right.
And Gundogan missed. Now, Pep's thing, I actually agree with him. He's like yelling from the bench, you take it. You're our penalty taker. You take it. I don't care what level of the game it's at. You take it. A little bit of a learning moment for Haaland, and whatever you think of the situation, good gesture from Haaland to Gundogan, and miss pen happens. Whatever. Yes, they came down and scored to make it 2-1, a little bit more nervy there at the end, but Pep's also right. If you're a designated penalty taker, you take it. How many times has Pep taken out Haaland in the second half when he's on a hat trick?
Yeah, because, dude, what was the final score?
2-1 in this.
Yeah. You could have had a draw.
You could have had, and you could, it probably should have been game to rest at 3-0 with that pen, assuming Haaland makes the pen. But just because you're on a hat trick doesn't mean that they have to get it. It's a good gesture from him, but again, what I just said with
not
Pep's taking Haaland out when he's been on a hat trick. It's not about that. It's about what do we need to do to win the game, keep people fit, and get 3 points. And that's more or less what Pep was probably conveying, that not only are you our pen taker, but we need to get all 3 points out of this and move on. A 2-0 lead, as many teams have found out here in the past few weeks, is the most dangerous lead to have. Step up, make it 3-0. Now we can kind of just hold back, possess the ball, and get out of here and move on to Madrid.
I want to make sure I got it right, by the way. The Sam Allardyce thing is 500,000 British pounds, regardless of what happens. And then if they manage to pull to safety, it's a 2.5 million pound bonus. West Ham and Spurs are the last 2 games of the league season. Not for nothing. That's doable.
It could be, yes.
That's doable. I'm sorry, because Spurs right now, they could win or lose any game. It's like a coin toss. So,
but they also have Newcastle coming up next.
Yeah.
And then going over to Arsenal Newcastle. Good game for the neutral in this. Newcastle, I was a little perplexed at how they never actually scored in this game. Not saying that they deserved to win or anything along those lines, but the first opening 10 minutes of each half, they hit the post each time. they were on the front foot. Odegaard's goal, while a lovely strike and a lovely goal, was against the run of play. And then the game opened up a bit for the rest of that half, and there was chances on both sides. Then the second half kind of started off the same way. It was Newcastle hitting the post like the first minute or two of play, and it was Newcastle for the first 10 minutes. Arsenal settled into the game. Odegaard or Martinelli held the ball up, went to play across, and it was just one of those own goals that as a defender you can't really do a whole lot about. But you can't let the ball go in a cross goal. So it was an own goal. I think it was a very professional job by Arsenal and how they kind of went about it. I think on another day, this game could have been 7-6. This game could have been 2-0 going the other way.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how this game played out on the day. But kudos to Arsenal for having their backs against the wall a bit and thinking they're done and dusted in the title and still putting the pressure on Man City.
A couple of changes too. Partey not had a couple of good past games. He does not start. Jorginho starts in center.
I think that was probably
a good call. Not that Jorginho was man of the match, I believe too. It might have been Odegaard was man of the match, but Jorginho was like up there. And then Kiwior in the defensive line on the back line as well. So two changes.
And for Rob Holding.
Yep.
And he almost gave up a pen in that first minute too. It was called a pen, VAR, and went off of his thigh before it hit his arm. So it was correctly ruled not a pen, and that's a situation where VAR was handled in the correct way. They told the ref to go over and have another look. He did, came back and said no pen.
Was it the Man United match? Is that the weird handball no call?
That's the one with Lindelof, yeah.
Where it hit the hand?
That one was odd, but I think based on what has been called throughout the season of where the arms are in relation to his body and where it kind of hits, this is going to sound weird, as consistent as it can be with handball in the Premier League this season, I think it was correctly called. Now, do I agree with it? No, but
yeah, I'm confused. That one confused me.
I'm confused
because
too, yeah.
I felt like I said one last time with Ron that I was like, and Ron said no, but his arm was there, and so I'm like, okay. And then this one I felt kind of fell in the same realm that Ron had argued for it, but it was called a no. They really need to. He pulls his arm in, but because he pulls it in, his hand goes out, and it literally hits his hand. And it's like, they need to make some clarifications, man.
And it helps him, right? It helps him to kind of control the ball, right? Where you look at the game that Man United lost earlier in the week, 1-0 to Brighton on like a 95th minute penalty, a handball by Luke Shaw. Absolutely a handball off of a corner. His arms in the air, and it comes off his hand. It kind of prevents that ball from going on to, I believe, Lewis Dunk's head at the time. No issue with that. Handball. With this, I can understand why people are saying pen. However, in relation to where the arm was with the body and how close it was and not out, or he was trying to bring it in, some think he was trying to bring it out, it is consistent with whatever they've determined throughout the course of the year. And I say that very tongue-in-cheek because we don't know what is consistent with handball.
Yeah.
So at this point, if it would have been called, I'm confused. And if it wasn't called, which it wasn't called, I'm still confused.
Because I understood when they said that it was within the frame of the body, but he brought his hand up, and that's what hit it. And like you said, it helped him. I don't know. I'm just, yeah.
Thankfully, that, and as we kind of move on here, thankfully, that no call, if you will, didn't really affect the game because West Ham won the game 1-0.
Yeah, no. It's true. It's just one of the, right. And that's why it's not even like a, crazy thing. It's just, man, is it me? Is it just been a lot of I just see a lot of people, pundits, everybody going, I don't understand the handball now.
They don't.
So maybe that's something that can be cleared up. Sorry, I don't know how that crept into it, but you were talking about that handball that got overturned.
Absolutely.
And I was so confused by that. Anyway.
And as we kind of said, the with 3 games to play for Arsenal, 4 games to play with Man City. Man City has a 1-point lead on 82 points. Arsenal at 81 points. In theory, Man City could lose 1 game and then win their other 3, and they would still win the title. But if they are to draw a few or lose more than 1, then if Arsenal keep going along their path, then they would win. But right now, if both won out, Man City would win.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the second leg against Real Madrid, who, like you said, they're gonna have to go for it.
Exactly.
But of course, I mean, Man City's also a team where could they field 3 starting teams probably that could start in the Premier League? I mean,
no, they're not Chelsea.
No, Chelsea can't do that unless it's a team of 11 midfielders.
That's true. Or 11 midfielders, or no, actually more like 11 wingers and center attacking midfielders. Yeah, that's like all they have.
Chelsea, why'd you have to go and win this weekend? You made it right? So we couldn't have a little fun here.
Yeah, and they, like I said, they officially became secure on 42 points in 11th place. Oof.
I love the relegation battle talk. Should we move on to the rest of the race for the Champions League football?
Which Chelsea will not be involved in this year?
No.
Or going into next year?
So just a few weeks to go, the top 4, or just a few weeks ago, I should say, the top 4 looked all but solidified. It really did look kind of done. However, with 6 straight wins by Liverpool, 2 straight 1-0 losses by Man United, and Spurs being, Spursy, Liverpool are now 1 point off of Man United in 4th following their 1-0 victory of Brentford. A solo goal in the 13th minute by Mo Salah was enough for them to once again secure all 3 points. And this was not matched the next day by Man United as David De Gea's gaff in the 27th minute. Woof, that was rough. Via a shot from outside the box by Said Benrahma. Thank you. Ended up being more than, I almost said Benrahma, being more than enough for West Ham to secure a big 3 points, and Man United a big 3 points dropped again. That error, that's all I could think. It was like a baseball. They should have, for that. Like that was rough.
It just, David De Gea he unfortunately he's becoming known for a mistake is in him in this type of way. It's tough, right? And Ten Hag came out after and fully supported De Gea. He goes, De Gea has the most clean sheets in the Premier League this season, so we wouldn't even be here without him. Mistakes occur.
Also, not for nothing, what was the final score?
It was 1-0.
Yeah, it's not his responsibility to score either. So, I mean,
correct.
Like,
yeah, So they're working through a new contract with him. I think my thing is he has been an amazing servant of the club, if you will. Has the most appearances for any goaltender ever at Manchester United. Most clean sheets this year. You think a few seasons back that we even got in like 7th last year was because of De Gea. That he's been our player of the season, in my opinion, multiple seasons just in the past few seasons. I think you sign a new deal for a year or 2 with him. Because the other question is, okay, you can easily say, oh, he's good for a mistake and he's not, just time to move on from him. Okay, sure. But then who do you get?
Well, no, that's what I would say. And you should be trying to score somebody good and young, and you keep De Gea there to pass off the torch,
Well, I think we get Dean Henderson back from Nottingham, who was only on loan this year. He started a majority of the games. What was it, 2 seasons ago? And looked like a proper, or even last.
That's a good point.
Season and let De Gea, stay in that. And maybe you just split more time with him, right? I think there's bigger concerns at United where to go in the summer than with the goaltender. He's still an amazing stopper, not best with the ball at his feet, but can make some tremendous saves with his feet. All in all, he's a very, very good goaltender. Not the best in the league nowadays, but he's up there. And 2 1-0 losses midweek, as we were saying, to Brighton, and then 1-0 loss here. It's United are looking tired. And that's not an excuse, but they just look a little bit jagged in their games, and they're not scoring. And Rashford's not scoring. Fernandez isn't scoring. Anthony had a couple chances in this. He's not scoring. Tried up Weghorst instead of Martial. It just, goals aren't seeming to come. The only thing that I will say going into these last games is United do have a game in hand over Liverpool, so similarly to the Man City over Arsenal. 3 of their last 4 games are at home. United this season under Erik ten Hag has made Old Trafford a fortress. If that continues in that same way, then United win those, they're going to be in the top 4. They drop more than one, they draw more than one, and Liverpool continue on their ways to win, then they'll get top 4. So, much like the top, and then much like what we'll talk about here at the bottom, it's just going to come down to these last 3 games and for every team, try and get the maximum amount of points that they can get.
Well, and that, like you said, that race, pardon me, that race is on there with Liverpool in very good form right now. So that one will go. I think that 4th place is going to go to the wire as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Heck, maybe 3rd. I mean, if Newcastle has any other issues,
it's mathematically still possible. Yes. I think it might be a little late for Newcastle to move out of that 3rd spot, but United and Newcastle are on the same amount of games. And had United won this, they would have been in 3rd.
Yeah.
So, yeah, United could be in 3rd. United could be in 4th. United could be in 5th.
Right.
I think Spurs are pretty much out of it in 6th.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to come down to Newcastle, United, and Liverpool at this. Brighton kind of blew their shot. They had a couple games in hand. They're like the only team that's only played 33 games. But losing to Everton, as we'll get on to here next.
But you bring up a good point, though. I forgot they still have 2 games in hand. So, like, they mathematically... Can they math? They can't. Can they get into the top 4? No.
They can get another 15 points, sure.
But like that really makes you really have to. Yeah,
you have to. Then all the other teams have to
like
lose
said,
or drop multiple points. Yeah.
If they hadn't screwed the pooch.
The max amount of points in the 5 games they can get is 15, which would take them up to 70.
So speaking of, should we move on to the most exciting game day of the entire Premier League season so far?
Absolutely.
The relegation battle on what do you call it? Meh Monday, right? As far as like clubs that are just like so many of them having huge games that are going to determine whether they stay in Premier League or not. And it did not disappoint. Monday the 8th, a bank holiday in England, which I had forgotten about. So I was like, why are there so many games today? And due to the King's coronation, Premier League fans were treated to 21 goals from only 3 matches played. You're welcome, Your Highness. However, it was a big 3 matches for all, or is it Your Majesty? I probably screwed that up. Sorry, anybody from England. Lee, if I screwed that up, I apologize. However, if it was a big 3 matches for all 5 clubs, really battling for their Premier League lives. First up, Fulham and Leicester. Leicester. They finally score. They finally put 3 in the net, and it doesn't matter. Leicester failed the task as they are beat 5-3 at Craven Cottage, with 4 of those 5 goals from Fulham happening before Leicester scored their first. It was around the 51st minute after Tom Kearney's second goal of the day, when Leicester fans then hoped that their relegation foes would then drop points. I felt for Leicester in that one. Like,
because theirs was the first of the day, right? They kind of cascaded these games. It was like a 10 a.m. here, then a 12:30 here, and then a 2 o'clock here, or something along those lines.
And they kick it off. As in fairness to them, and both us, they might have thought with Everton playing Brighton, there wasn't really a chance that the Toffees would get all 3 points, but that most certainly did happen on the back of 5 goals. 5 goals against Brighton by Everton. That's just bonkers. Man, and then he come off the back of a red card or flurry of goals at the end. No. It all kicked off in the first minute of play with an Abdou. Gosh, I'm so bad at names.
Abdou Decore.
Thank you. You're the best at them, except for Christian Pulisic. And then he scored again. An on goal happens, and Dwight Messi McNeil added one all before Brighton Hove got there first. Man, McNeil added in another for good measure, and boom, voila. Would you look at that? Everton are now 2 points clear of the drop zone over Leicester with 3 games left. And if you're wondering where Nottingham Forest is in all this, well, now they're 1 point above Everton and 3 points above Leicester, courtesy of their 4-3 victory over Southampton, who is now 1 match away from being relegated. I actually thought it was this match, but Nottingham was in control most of the game, as they always led and never let Southampton get at any point of the match. So here's where we currently stand with all 5 of the major battlers having 3 matches remaining. In 16th, having moved up, Nottingham played 35 matches on 33 points. 17th, Everton played 35 matches on 32 points. Leicester at 18th on 35 matches, 30 points. Leeds, 35 matches, 30 points. Southampton, 35 matches, 24 points. So Southampton probably done. I can't wait to see. We kept voting for Southampton for like 3-4 years in a row now to get relegated, and they hadn't. Yeah. So I'm wondering if any of us changed our vote.
They might even win on Saturday or Sunday, but if Leeds or Leicester win, then it's done.
It's done.
Like there's like, because they have to get 3 matches left, it will be 12 points, right? Yeah. That would put them on 36 points. But then you need Leeds, Leicester, Everton, Nottingham to do absolutely nothing at that point. So a draw or a loss probably puts them down.
What's the total of matches? Is it 38?
38.
So wait, what are they sitting at right now? Okay,
24 points.
So no, actually they can only get 9 more points.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, where did you get 12 from? You're absolutely correct. So that's even So they have to win all 3 and hope that the results go their way. They even draw one, they're done.
What do you got, Ferris? We keep doing this every week.
The interesting thing is here. Look at who Nottingham, Everton, Leicester, and Leeds all played in their next game this coming weekend. Nottingham played Chelsea. Everton played Man City.
That's totally
Leicester played Liverpool. Leeds played Newcastle.
Nottingham's totally. You can beat Chelsea, guys, and stay in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
You absolutely.
That's how you're staying in the Premier League, right there. Everton taking on Man City. I mean, Sean Dyche does some weird things. You could see it. He beat number 1 Arsenal in his first game. So can he beat the now number 1?
Do you know what Sean Dyche can really do? Draw. That's also something he's good at doing.
Absolutely.
And right now, you look at that game as a guaranteed loss. I'd be like, Everton, get your neck pillows out. We are parking the bus so hard in this match. Because I don't think you think you're going to beat Man City. But if you could pull a draw off and get 1 more point, that'd be huge. And who did you say Leicester's got next?
Liverpool. Now, Leicester are playing at home, and the way that Liverpool, up until the 6-game run, have been extremely inconsistent all season, right? The likes of Nottingham have beat them at home. Leicester are dire.
Every team, Southampton, Leeds, Everton, Nottingham, everyone on this list except for Leicester, I say on any given day, and we've seen it happen, can topple a giant or draw a giant.
I'd be shocked if Leicester win this game.
I just don't see that happening.
I would be shocked. I don't see it either. Even they're Premier League lives. They play in the late game on. They play in the only game on Monday actually. At the King Power.
Our house will be watching the championship if it happens because my daughter loves the Foxes.
That's true. Leeds with Newcastle.
That's kind of a rivalry, though.
No, not necessarily with them. But they are playing at Ellen Road. But Newcastle fighting to stay in that top 4 too, so not going to be easy. And best defensive record in the league for Newcastle. So Big Sam might pull something out. I don't know, but I don't think so. And then Southampton,
they just need too many things to go right for other people. Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at what we said on the last pod for our predictions of who's going to go down, but I mean,
At this
I still
point,
think Everton go down, but I don't know.
I don't know, man. I'm starting to get a little more faith in Big Sam right now. Are we going to get him that, or not Sam? Sorry, it's Sean Dyche. I think he's
I trust Sean Dyche more than I do Big Sam.
Yeah. I
Me
mean,
personally.
hey, look, Sam, I'm rooting for you to get that 2.5 million bonus, man. That'd be pretty
Heck
amazing.
Yeah. That'd be a hell of a payday.
But if Leeds goes up, it's Everton that comes down. I think Nottingham's going to do it. I think you might be right. I mean, hold on. What's Nottingham's last few games? Yes, they have Chelsea, which we're going to pencil that in as a win. They then have, that's right. Not an easy run for them. They have Chelsea, Arsenal, Palace. Now, Palace, nothing to play for, but both Arsenal and, Chelsea really have nothing to play for at this time either, but. Just pride.
Yep.
I mean, it's just your other teams below you. I mean, you could easily, just from pure losses, see this stay the same also. You know what I mean? Like, not a single team could win another match, and it just stays this way the whole way through.
We got a race all over the place now with like 2 games left or a game left. Places might already be decided. I don't think that's going to be the case with this situation with the bottom 3. It might be the case with a little bit higher up, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be the case with this. I think there'll still be one outstanding team that goes into the last day wondering if they're going to go down. We might have 2 confirmed, but it might be one that's still, whether that's Everton, whether that's Leeds, whether that's Nottingham, whether that's Leicester. I think those 4 are going to kind of figure out who's going to occupy those
I think
last 2 spots.
I think your bottom 4 is your bottom 4. You might be. That's my prediction. How about that? Not necessarily saying in order, but I think Everton, Leicester, Leeds, Southampton. Obviously for Southampton, but I think that's your bottom 4 where Everton ends up. I don't think Leeds is going to do it. I feel like Leeds has I feel like logically, Leeds could do it and survive easier than Leicester. But I'm holding out some kind of like Vardy magnificence there, and maybe
which he's had a few in the past few weeks. But it must also be noted, some of the time this goes down to goal difference.
Yes.
Right? And Leicester have the best goal difference. Unbelievably, somehow, they are only on a minus 15. Where the next closest is Everton at minus 21. Then you have Leeds on minus 25, Nottingham on minus 31, and then Southampton minus 33.
Can we just talk about the mighty Bournemouth in 14th with a negative 30 goal differential?
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Yep. But they get more points on the other end, and they're good. I mean, they're 1 point away from being safe. We're not going to include West Ham in this. That win against United put them at 37 points, and you think they're kind of out of that dogfight down there. But
that's true. That saved them. I mean, they're good to go.
That was a big 3 points for them. Yeah.
Whew. All right, man. Does that wrap up our Premier League?
I believe it does.
All right. There's halftime with our crappy whistle. Well, normally this is Ron's beer news. I don't have crap all for this. I'm so terrible. I knew Ron was not going to be here today, and I didn't even think about making sure we had some beer news lined up.
I don't really have any either. The only thing I'll kind of add is I didn't get a chance to go to it this weekend, but I wanted to. But kind of the second annual, if you will, there is a local food vendor in town that I personally love, and you may or may not have seen on our socials before, but they're called Cholo Dogs, and like a Mexican style hot dogs, if you will. Awesome. Love them to death. Will get them any chance that I can get. You can now find them at Orlando City Stadium as one of the vendors.
Awesome.
On most game days. Yep. You can find them in the Amway at most game days for the Magic and Solar Bears. And they do pop-up stuff throughout the week. Well, one brewery in particular, and we've had on the pod before, and is one of my favorites. Tactical Brewing is one of their main spots. They're there every like Wednesday and sometimes another day of the week and that sort of thing. Well, last year Cholo Dogs did a I want to get this correct but Franco's Flop Fest, which is a belly flop competition that they do. And they partnered with Tactical Brewing. If you know where Tactical's at, it's in this nice neighborhood kind of lot of restaurants, bars, and shops down the street. They basically cordoned off the street and added this big ass pool and did the belly flop competition this past week. Shame on me for not getting Franco's Flop Fest beer, because they partnered and did a beer together. It's a lemon lime shandy that I might have to pick up for future pods, but it looked like one hell of a day out. A winner was crowned. It looked like a hell of a time. I can't remember. I think the guy's name was Joe that won, and his stomach looked red as hell. But it looked like just such an awesome time. Just who doesn't love a good belly flop? You may not like to do it, but you love to see it happen.
You'll love to see it. By the way, I would like to mention that since the Sultan of Sausage couldn't be in this podcast day, that one of the first things you talked about was Cholo dogs, and you got sausage in there.
Absolutely. And as they say, it's Franco's Flop Fest, Earth's premier belly flop contest. Not like the universe, Earth's.
I just love a good, confident person who just stands up like they are going to do the best dive and commit to the strongest belly flop.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I was paying attention to their stories throughout it all, in every shape and size, right? From a 5'10", 150-pound female to a 6'4", 300-pound male, right? They're just all shapes, sizes, everybody. But you're right. You go up there with some confidence, and the key is this, right? The key is commitment.
It's yes,
and fortitude, because once you elevate into the air from the platform and are going towards the pool, there's no turning back.
No.
If you flinch, if you curl your arms in, that's points off, right? You're done. You have to commit, and you have to
you got to hold it.
Arms out, hold it, and just succumb to whatever that water is going to bring to your stomach.
You have got to starfish so hard. And
you have to stay there. There's no right before you hit the water, tuck in. You got to stay, and you got to take it all on. H2O, right? Bam, there.
And literally everybody there is just watching like they're watching car wrecks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
beer, hot dogs, and belly flops. God, I love America.
Beer, hot dogs, and belly flops. That sounds like a glorious day.
I was so mad I couldn't be there, but just shout out to Cholo Dogs in Orlando, Florida, and Tactical Brew. It just looked like an awesome time. They did it at I think Hourglass last year. So kind of what's becoming a cool yearly thing for this community.
Love it. Love it. All right, that's the end of the half. There you go. Half ended. Now it's time to throw things back over to you, Ferris, for the La Liga's roundup.
You are on point tonight with those sound effects, my friend.
I got them.
Yeah. Who needs technology and
we got this
sound effects on some fancy board? Just have Blake. All right. What's up, Holmes? We stay in England, actually. And with the Sky Bet Championship, which makes their first appearance on the La Liga's roundup. Thank you, Blake. So, if you didn't already know, we currently have two teams who have already secured their promotion back to the Premier League. And yes, both are frequent flyers of going up and coming down and doing that sort of thing. Burnley, managed by Man City legend Vincent Kompany,
who just got an extension.
Rightly so. Yeah. Just put up a staggering 101 points on 46 games. Could be part of the reason why he got an extension. And they secured their promotion weeks ago. like sometime in April ago. Like I know we're just in
January.
the beginning of May, but it was like mid-April or early April, right? They were shortly followed, I think by the next week actually, by our Blades and the return of Billy Sharp back to the Premier League. As Sheffield United are coming back up, baby. On 91 points, solidified second, first and second in the Sky Bet Championship. It was automatic promotion, and Sheffield's come back up. They'll probably go right back down, but it doesn't even matter because Billy Sharp's there, baby.
I love that there were no bleeps in this pod until we got to Billy Sharp.
Love him. We probably will not see him that much in the Premier League. He's like a 38-year-old, just England, just rough and tumble.
You say that?
Little striker poacher guy, but I love him.
You say that? You watch him. He'll play. He'll score when he needs to, when they least expect it.
I'm trying to get back over to England next year, and one of my goals will try to see Sheffield play, and hopefully
it's funny you mentioned that. It's something we've been talking about too. For this girl, let's try to make that happen.
Oh, will be awesome. All right, so you have those two teams, right? So then the championship, if you don't know, go into a 2-game playoff split amongst 4 teams, right? Those 4 teams were solidified on Monday, on the bank holiday, actually, because that was their last match week. Now, on that bank holiday, it played out quite interestingly because there were about 6 teams that could have been in contention for one of those 4 places to play in this playoff, which could see them back to the Premier League. Those 4 teams were Luton Town, which pretty much they were secured in the top 3 through 6 at some point. So they were always going to stay up there, which is kind of awesome. We have not heard a lot from them. We have not seen them in the Premier League. Then Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough, who we have in recent, but it's been a few years. They were up there, and they were pretty much secured as well. I don't think mathematically they were, but it was a pretty good chance. Then you had between Coventry City, Sunderland, Blackburn Rovers, and Millwall, the 4 that were really battling to then get one of those last 2 places. Well, Millwall and Blackburn were playing each other. And at halftime of all these games, because they were all played at the same time, Millwall was up 3-1. With that result, if that result was to hold, they would have been in one of those last 2 places. But it didn't. And Blackburn scored 3 unanswered goals to make it 4-3 on full time. Therefore, putting Sunderland, who might be their 3rd in a row promotion, back up to whatever league they were previously in, but they won 3-0 at Preston. And then Coventry City, who was playing obviously at that time as well, they tied 1-1 with Middlesbrough. So that draw for both of them kind of helped, but certainly helped that Blackburn came from behind and won. Now, the reason that allowed Sunderland to get in is because that with that win, it put Blackburn on 69 points. Sunderland have 69 points. However, Sunderland have a plus 13 goal difference. Blackburn Rovers -2. So Sunderland till I die, and if you watch that Netflix series, remember they were down in was it League 2?
They dropped a lot.
Yep. They went up to League 1 2 seasons ago, went up to the Championship last season, and now have a chance to go up to the Premier League. 3 successful promotions, possibly. Now, Luton Town plays Sunderland in the first game.
By the way, guys, Luton Town, not big. I'm rooting for them hard.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be friggin' cool.
Absolutely. So, 3rd place plays 6th place. Right? It's a 1 game only. There's no 2 games, goal differences, or, away goals, none of that. Just a single game, which I believe is going to be played at Luton Town, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have Middlesbrough taking on Coventry City in the next game. And then whoever wins each of those then play in that final at Wembley in what is considered the most expensive game to be played of the season because of what the financial ramifications at the end of that game is. So
do you know why they need to win, Ferris?
Why? Who needs to win?
Luton Town.
No, go ahead, say it.
I'm sending you, if you're not familiar with it, I'm sending you their crest right now.
I like Coventry City.
Dude, no. Look at that Luton Town crest, bro.
Okay.
Look at it. It's got like a pork pie hat.
Oh, yeah, it does.
It's got a honeybee with a little honey pot, a thistle. It is adorable. And their colors are orange and blue, which is kind of cool. It's a little different.
Very one noxish.
Yeah, it's very one noxious. But man, a pork pie hat on a crest in the Premier League, put it in my veins. I want that, dude. That's awesome.
I know, but Coventry City, let me give you a fight for them. West Midlands, right? We have a Midland derby back in the Premier League. They're the Sky Blues. That's their nickname, the Sky Blues.
Their crest also cool.
Yeah. They also play at Coventry Building Society Arena. Can you not wait to hear Rebecca Lowe say, now going out to the Coventry Building Society Arena as they take on Man City and Erling Haaland?
But hold on. I'm going to throw another one at you. Their stadium's 32,000.
Yeah, sure.
Luton Town?
No. It's not a stadium, my friend. It's a society arena.
Sorry, it's a society arena. 32,000 capacity. Luton Town? 10,000, man.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing. See, when I worked at the Epcot Pavilion or the England Pavilion in Epcot, I made friends with so many people. You know, they'd come over from England, they come work there and stuff, from England and Scotland. And there's a dude who's a huge Luton Town fan, and he's like, I just remember being like, we're small. You know, we're not in the big leagues. So every time they're doing well, I always think about him. Really super nice guy. And there was a lady I worked with there. She her parents are like they had some crazy seat there. Granted, it's only a
that's right.
seat.
You were telling us this last year.
Yeah. But they I don't know if it was like partial owner, how that worked, but like they had something to do big time with that club. I don't know if they still do, but I need to reach out to her and ask. There you go. So if they get promotion, let's see if I can get us a conversation with someone on the pod. But I mean, both of those would be awesome. I think you and I are in the same vote of like Middlesbrough and Sunderland. I love you. I've seen you. I would love to get some new blood up in here. Like
now, if I'm going back, let's go over here. Last time Luton and Sunderland played, day after St. Paddy's Day, March 18th, 1-1 draw. Could be interesting, right? This has to go to pens if anything. The time before that, when they played on the reverse fixture, it was. I just had it up. Sorry. Where the hell did it go? 1-1. So the past two times in the league they've played, they've drawn 1-1, and they are now paired together in what will be their chance to play in another match that could take them to the Premier League. Pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of that, real quick before we move on, Middlesbrough, right, are taking on that Coventry City, the Sky Blues, if you will. Last times they've played, well, yesterday, 1-1. So they drew as well. Time before that, and I'm trying to find that real quick. That was way, way, way back. I want to say, was that in September? That was in October 1st. Coventry, 1-0. So all four of these teams of who they're playing next, 3 draws and only 1 win from their 4, league games.
Did you throw out the dates?
The dates of when these games are going to be played?
Yes, it's Saturday and Sunday are the first two. Sunday Luton Town first, and then Sunday Coventry and Middlesbrough, and then they have the follow-up matches Tuesday for Luton Town and Sunderland on the 16th of May, and then 17th of May Middlesbrough and Coventry on a Wednesday.
Okay, so they do. I'm sorry. So I was
they have 2 legs.
They do play a home and away.
Yep.
Away goals does not count in. Sorry, I forgot about that. So yeah, it's kind of a 5 game, but They play home and away, and then that fifth match on whoever wins each of those, then play the single match at Wembley Stadium. So corrected there. So thank you, Blake. But should be an awesome time. I believe all these games are on ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus. Yep.
So between Saturday and Sunday, and then mid next week, turn on those games and see who will be playing each other for sure. What's up, Holmes? The Bundesliga. Still a lot to play for there. It's about the only other top league that is really has a fight going on there for that top spot, and it is between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. So, where the table sits currently, you have Bayern Munich on 65 points with 31 games played, and then you have Borussia Dortmund on 64 points with 31 games played. They play a total of 34 games on the season. So they each have 3 more games to play, 1 point in between them. This is going to go down to the wire the same way that Man City and Arsenal are going to go down. If each of them win out, obviously that 1 point will go to Bayern. If they drop points, they're in trouble. Now, Dortmund's fixtures are a little bit better off. Dortmund play Mainz, Gladbach, Augsburg, and Mainz. Borussia Mönchengladbach in 10th place. Augsburg in 13th place. Mainz is the only one up there in kind of 8th place. However, Bayern Munich plays Schalke. They're down at 15th. They have a lot to fight for because they are right there and they could go down. So not necessarily an easy match. They are playing at Bayern, though, so that'll help. Then Bayern play RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig are currently 3rd in the table. Mathematically could get up and pip both of them if a lot of results go their way and they win out. But they're on 57 points with 31 games played. And then they take on Cologne, who are in 11th place, nothing really to play for. So I say that Munich have the harder of the two because they have to play that Schalke, who are fighting for their Bundesliga lives there. And then they have to play RB Leipzig, who are fighting to not only stay in the top 4 in those Champions League places, but they still mathematically have a shot to win the league if results don't go the way for Bayern and Dortmund. It's going to be really interesting to see how this league plays out. Keep an eye on it. On Saturday, both Bayern and Dortmund play. Bayern play at 9:30 a.m., Dortmund at 12:30. The following week, it's about the same. However, Bayern play on Saturday, Dortmund play on Sunday. Then they all play at the same time, obviously, on that Saturday. So the next 2 games, Bayern will play first, and then Dortmund will play second. So Dortmund will already know the Bayern result going into each of their next 2 games. And then obviously the last game it will come down to all at the same time.
So I have a question that I might have figured out an answer for. I was looking at the table that you shared the link for on FootMob, and it had a spot for the Europa Conference League qualification.
Yes.
And I went, well, wait a minute. So then I went into FootMob and I went to Premier League, and that slot doesn't show up. I think I know why now.
Go ahead.
It's a little bonkers right now. So in the Premier League, boy, this gets real messy. In the Premier League, either league position or by winning the FA Cup or Carabao Cup can get you into the Europa Conference League. I think the reason that they're not highlighting it on these Premier League tables is there's so much up in the air. But by that, what I mean is this. If Man United finishes in the top 4, Champions League's Arsenal, Man City, whoever is third, Manchester United. Europa League will be spot 5 and the FA Cup winners, and Europa Conference League will be 6th place. If Man United finish 5th, Champions League is Arsenal, Man City, slots 3 and 4, and Europa League will be Manchester United and FA Cup winners. Europa Cup Conference League would go to 6th. But hold on. Here's how it keeps going.
Okay.
If Man United finish 6th or lower, Arsenal, Man City, 3rd and 4th, go to Champions League. Europa League is slot 5 and the FA Cup winners, and Europa Conference League is Manchester United. So if Man City win the FA Cup, Champions League's Arsenal, Man City, 3rd and 4th. Europa League goes to slots 5 and 6, and the Europa Conference League will be Manchester United. So 2 other teams would be able to, that's a mess, dude. I have
to rewind that just to figure out what the hell you just said.
I'm going to send you the link from ESPN because I had to parse it, but I think that might be why they're not just putting it up there, because that would look far too clear cut. So, because this thing breaks it down to how does FA Cup affect the European places? How does this do that? How does this? And it is like,
and if City win the Champions League, is that in there?
How can 7th qualify? Yeah, because there's a potential to get 10 teams, Premier League teams in Europe if certain things happen. Let's see. Performance of clubs in Europe cannot increase the number of places allocated to final places in the Premier League table. So, yeah, how can 7th qualify for that? This is only the case of Manchester United and the winners of the FA Cup finish in the top 6 of the Premier League. This would mean 7th gets the place in the Europa Conference League. So it's still like very it's fairly all over the place. And to be honest, Brighton Hove and Albion still fighting for a spot in Europe at that point. You'll have to take a look at that breakdown on ESPN I sent you of.
Yeah.
And I think that is
why I'm slowly going through that. Holy mackerel.
I think that it's why they have not highlighted it, because it would imply that it's a simple, and it's not. It's not a simple shakeout because of the games and tournaments left to play. When's FA Cup final?
Early June.
Oh, right. Gosh. So see, in some instances we may not even know till later.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
It is June 3rd.
After all the chips have already fallen from the Premier League. That's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's bonkers. So I think that is why that is the case. Just so you know. Sorry, I'm sure that was very confusing, but I'll share the link on our socials. All right. I think that wraps us up for the footy talk for the day. For the beer mention from the Bearded Iris, to recap, I had their Tunnel Vision IPA, and it was delicious. What'd you have, Ferris, from Canada?
From the Mother and Son started brewery in Canada. I had Double Up Coffee Milk Stout from Tomorrow Brew Company. Darn good.
That is a beer that I really want to have on a Premier League Sunday.
Yeah,
or Saturday
I only
morning.
had one. That's all that Ron brought me back.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you would follow us on the Twitters, the Facebooks, all those places, share the show. We appreciate it. Tell your friends about it. If you want to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or however you listen to us, just get us a screen grab of it and send it to us at thebrutifulgame@gmail.com or DM through one of our socials, and we'll get you a koozie, magnet, something fun in the mail to you.
Dan finally got his, by the way.
Excellent.
It's a complete error on Mawa here, but he finally got his.
And don't forget to follow us on Untapped as well, where we're throwing up all the beers and what have you, especially because Ron, as he mentioned, is doing a bunch of traveling, so he's going to get some fun beers and stuff up on there as well.
I believe he threw up the one that he threw up. I believe he put the one up today with him at the, was it the Irish bar that he found in?
Yes, the Hooligans.
Billings, Montana?
Yeah, the Hooligans bar to watch the Premier League, or watch Champions League, yep.
Yeah.
Ferris, do you have a Zlatan quote? I know you don't have the book with you.
I found one.
Oh, you got one? All right.
I don't have the book in front of me, but I did find one that I don't think we've ever gone over before. Oddly enough, on ESPN, there's 35 best Zlatan quotes, by the way, that you can
of course
look up. So number 7 on that list is he replied to something. I don't quite know what, but it was, "What do you mean present? She got Zlatan." This is in reference to his ex-girlfriend's engagement gift. On his ex-girlfriend's engagement gift, what do you mean present? She got Zlatan.
Amazing.
That's
Zlatan. I missed.
Wait, hold on. I got one more.
Hit it.
I got one more. So Zlatan said in a press conference at one point, "Only God knows who will go through." Reporter said it's hard to ask him. Zlatan responded, "You're talking to him."
Amazing. Well, as you will see in my beer picture for my beer today, I threw the Mandalorian and Grogu in there. That's my daughter for my birthday at the end of April got me a little 2 set of you have to build a Lego Grogu and a Lego Mandalorian. So we put that together. And our podcast did not land around May the 4th like I wanted it to do something for May the 4th. But when you don't live in Orlando, where all the Star Wars stuff is very sanctioned by Disney, places in an area like where I live now in East Tennessee will totally just use Star Wars stuff for all their whatever, they got May 4th or whatever doing. And we took Afton, my daughter, to a one in a dairy place, like a dairy place, a place, cows, right? Anyway, and they were doing like, cause she loves Mandalorian and Grogu. She's snuggling with a Grogu right now tonight, but, they were doing a Mandalorian day at the dairy. So we went in and like, they showed us all the, how you make this or that. And they had the snack curd making facility, to which the guy making it pointed it out and said, "This is the way." WHEY.
Okay.
The way.
Okay. I fan of the show. Good story set up. Relevant. I don't mind.
All right, good. I got some good notes from Ferris on that one. I knew I had to make it good.
Mind.
It reads better than it says, but I like it. This is the way.
I thought the story was engaging.
Yeah.
Again, May the 4th was not too long ago. Well, we haven't had a pod since then. It's relevant to your beer you sent over. So yeah, it checks a lot of boxes. What's
really funny is my daughter found it hysterical because my wife's birthday was the next day. So like on May 4th, I woke her up in the morning and said, "Hey buddy, you know what today is?" She goes, "Is it mommy's birthday?" I was like, "No." And she's 5, I was like, "It's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you." And she just got quiet and goes, "Ha ha." Like it's May the 4th, but she said it over and over to
That's awesome.
Everybody. She thought it was the funniest,
That's awesome.
The funniest flipping thing. Made my day. And lately, every time she goes to bed, I have to tell a Mandalorian and Grogu story for night times. So
fair enough.
I mean, I couldn't have scripted it any better. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for letting us do this silly thing for 200 episodes now. We talked about, like, do we do something crazy? But our anniversary is really the end of the Premier League, because how do you launch a Premier League show? We launched it on the last day.
When Leicester City won.
Our first episode was on the last day of the Premier League when we decided to finally do a podcast. So we'll celebrate a little. We'll do our little.
What was it, 8 years? It'd be 8 years then.
Holy cow! I think you're right. Is that 2016 they won?
Yeah,
I think you're right, man. Yeah,
yeah. Or 7 seasons, maybe?
Seven. Yeah. So that'd be
Something
7.
Like
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's how we do our milestones here.
Yeah, exactly.
None of this episode nonsense.
Yeah, you never know how it's going to shake out. So we'll have Ron back for that when it's time to actually wrap everything up. All right.
Hopefully.
I know. Well, I say that.
Bahrain with the shake and then having to deliver a package somewhere.
He's like,
I got
to go to Antarctica for a thing. Yeah, whatever he does. All right, my friend. Always a pleasure having a duo pod with you.
Absolutely, sir.
Love the beer. Cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game. Travel safe, Ron.
Cling.